All right, well, here it is. I finished Chapterhouse Dune. And I don't know, man. I have mixed feelings on it. It's no spoilers. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I'm going to say the book ends on a cliffhanger. It ends on a cliffhanger. And the debate is what to do. What to do. So, Frank Herbert had intended this to be the second book in a trilogy of books. And then he died in 1986. This book, I think, was published in 85. And then the book just, book 7, the intended book 7, never got written. And then 15, 20 years goes by, and Brian Herbert supposedly finds notes from Frank Herbert in on a dot matrix spreadsheet or dot matrix print sheet thing, and says, oh, here's the outline for book 7. And then Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson write books 7 and 8. So they turn the final book into 2 books. And I've heard mixed reactions to this. So I don't know what to say. It's hard for me to judge the book based upon it's unfinished. It's not complete. Like, there's supposed to be a 3rd book here that Frank never wrote. So, did I enjoy the book? Yes, I enjoyed the book. But I'm irritated. I'm irritated because I don't know how Frank Herbert would have concluded the story, because it leaves off in a weird place. So we have six books here, right? So I was thinking of something comparable to what just happened to me. It would have been like Star Trek Deep Space Nine, which is one of my favorite shows. At the end of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, there's a cliffhanger. It's weird, right? You have all this setup. We're in the middle of the Dominion War, and then there's this big final season-ending cliffhanger. And Benjamin Sisko, what's going on with him? Like, the show just leaves him in a weird place where you wouldn't expect him. Not wondering whether or not he's going to even be in Starfleet anymore, right? Like, what? And if that's where the series would have ended, if there was no season 7, like, how would I feel about that show? It's just a weird place to end it, and you just be going, what? Where was this show going? What was the conclusion of this story? That's kind of like where this series leaves you. So, I don't know what to say. I'm very frustrated. It picks up right where, there's a time lapse, a little bit of a time lapse from Heretics, and then it jumps into this story, and you have a lot of crazy stuff happen in the 3rd act of this book, and then it's just like such a weird ending. It just leaves you going, what did I just read? That last chapter, I don't know what's going on. I don't know where this story was headed. So I don't know what to say. So I'm going to just end the review there. I'm going to say I enjoyed the book, but it's an incomplete story, and I don't know if I really want to read the Brian Herbert books or not, because the fan community of the Dune fan community is extremely divided on the Brian Herbert, Kevin J. Anderson books. So I don't know what to do. But to the people that want to read Dune, here's my advice to you. If I could go back and do this all over again, okay, and read all these again, which I'm not mad about it, but I get why people end at book 3. So here's my advice. Here's my advice to you. This book right here, okay, Dune, the first one, is an undisputed sci-fi classic. It's great. You can read this book and end the story right there. You don't have to read on. But if you want to read on, if you're interested in seeing what happens next with Paul Atreides, then read Dune Messiah and Children of Dune. This is a perfectly functional trilogy. This functions as a trilogy, a complete story, okay? Even though Children of Dune sets up for future books, it has a perfectly fine ending. Like, you don't have to read any farther. If you want the story of Paul Atreides, it's right here in these 3. The Dune trilogy. Now, this book here, God Emperor of Dune, it is a big time skip from this one. It jumps thousands and thousands of years into the future. So everybody that you cared about in these books and this trilogy, all right, they're gone. They're gone. This book actually is setting up for a second trilogy, okay? So it's not really connected to the first trilogy or the second trilogy. It's a bridge book. So if you've read the first 3 and you want to know more about what happens next, you can read this. But these, okay, this is incomplete. We got 2 books, and now I'm in a dilemma that I don't know what to do. So, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. So you be the judge. You be the judge of Dune. Because I'm going to tell you right now, here's the thing. I'm going to go back. This starts out pretty normal, like a sci-fi, like a hard sci-fi universe almost. And then we start getting into weird, goofy elements at the end of this book. And then it goes really crazy in this book. And we get the whole beef swelling, weird sexual stuff starts to happen. And then the books just get increasingly more sexually weird until we have like, you know, this one's really weird. And then these just go full-blown, like, crazy sex ninja, sex kung fu. And I could really do without that. When Frank writes sexual material, it's really kind of disturbing. And I found it gross. It's not it's just gross, okay? But these first 3, this first trilogy here, is pretty good. It's pretty good. This book, God Emperor of Dune, is kind of like Plato's Republic if you mashed it together with a really bad romance novel. Like a teen romance novel. It's a very strange book. Basically this whole book, almost nothing happens. It's just 2 characters talking to each other, and it's a lot of philosophy. So these are not action adventure stories. These are books of ideas. They are. I don't think I've ever read a series before where I've been so aware of the author. I think about Frank Herbert writing these, and he's an interesting fellow, and it's a shame. If I could like have a conversation with like 3 people that were dead, you know, like a round table, if I could go back and get like 3 people and like talk to them, the 3 people that I would want to talk to would be Frank Herbert, Philip K. Dick and Father Seraphim Rose, the Orthodox priest, because I think those three guys, if I could just sit down together and talk to these guys together as a group, it'd be a very interesting conversation. But that's a whole side tangent that I'm really not going to get into. But Frank Herbert and, Father Seraphim Rose, they had a mutual connection in Alan Watts, because before converting to Orthodox Christianity, Father Seraphim Rose, his original name when he was Eugene, before he took his priest name, he was into this whole transcendental meditation, drug, hippie, weird stuff. And Alan Watts was kind of a friend or a colleague or a mentor, both of Frank Herbert and Father Seraphim. So, yeah, I don't know. This isn't much a review. This is just me trying to process what I've read. So I would recommend any prospective readers, start with the first 3 books and just read the trilogy. And if you're satisfied with that, stop there. Because I got to tell you, it's very unsatisfying to read something and be so engaged in it and then realize, the author's gone. I don't know how he would have ended the story. I don't know where he would have taken it. And I don't know what to do. I'm in a dilemma. I don't know whether to read Hunters of Dune and Sandworms of Dune or just to stop here. With the possible what if. What would have happened? Where would Frank have taken this? All right, that's it. That's all I got to say about Dune. I may do a follow-up to this if I have further thoughts, because Dune is a very interesting universe. There's a lot of really heady, high concept stuff going on in here, mixed in with a whole lot of political philosophy. And I would like to touch on some of these things and talk about them because it's interesting. The ideas are interesting. Very interesting. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day.